Hello everyone. In this video I am going to introduce you to QBasic programming. As you know, computer is a machine and it needs instructions to do something. The computer reads the instructions given by us and does exactly what it is told to. In order to write these instructions, we use a language called as programming language. So, a programming language is a set of symbols and words with the help of which we write the instructions. For programming, we use English-like languages called as high-level languages. Since these languages use English words and similar kind of ways of writing the code, they are easy to learn and use. One such high-level language is BASIC. BASIC stands for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction and Code. It was developed by John Kemener and Thomas Kurz in 1963. There are different versions of BASIC like GW Basic, Power Basic, Quick Basic and QBasic. We are going to discuss about QBasic, which was released by Microsoft in 1991. It was available freely as a part of MS-DOS, that is Microsoft Disk Operating System. It is highly compatible with generally all the 32-bit operating systems including Windows XP. But in case you want to get it working on other variants of Windows and other operating systems or 64-bit architectures, you can use some emulator or any of the compatible operating systems installed as a virtual machine. Here I am going to provide you a pre-configured installation package for Windows operating systems. It is based on DOSBox, which is a very popular emulator program, and QBasic 1.1, which I downloaded from Microsoft's archives. The link to download the software is available in the description of the video. In order to download the file, open the web browser of your choice and open the link that you copied from the video description. This opens the download page, and from there you can click on download to start downloading the file. Once the download is complete, you can close the browser and go to the downloads folder or wherever you have downloaded the file. You can open the file directly from the archive or you can extract it first. Double click to start the installation procedure. Confirm the installation by clicking on yes. Accept the agreement. Now click on next and then next again. If you want to create a desktop shortcut, you can check this option and click on next. Then click on install, remove the tick mark and click on finish. Now let's open the QBasic window. For this, we can directly click on the desktop shortcut or we can go to start and then move to the QBasic folder, and then from there we can click on QBasic. This opens the QBasic screen called as QBasic Editor. It gives you a welcome message in the beginning. So if you want, you can see the help file by pressing enter key, or you can press escape from the keyboard to remove this dialog box. Now QBasic is going to help you write and correct the program and execute it. For this, it has to convert the program code into machine language code, for which it has its own interpreter. An interpreter is a language translator which converts the program code into machine code one statement at a time. Now let's see the different parts of this QBasic editor. On the top we have the menu bar. So the menu bar is a list of commands categorized into different menus. This will help us work with QBasic programs. Below that there is a program window where you write, modify and execute your QBasic programs. By default, the name of the program is Untitled. When you save a program with some name, that name appears in place of this Untitled. The next part of the editor screen is the immediate window. As the name suggests, it is going to help you execute the statements immediately by pressing the enter key. So whichever statement you write here, as soon as you press enter key, it is executed. The fourth and the last part of this window is the status bar. The status bar gives you the shortcuts to different commands, and on the right you can see the line number and the column number or the position of the cursor in the window. Now we will start with the immediate window first. You can resize the window by dragging the line upwards. Let's display some welcome message. So I will write print, put a space, and then in double quotes I will write the message. Close the double quotes and press the enter key, and you can see the message is displayed on the output screen the same way as it was typed there. Now press enter key to go back to the immediate window. Now let's print something different. So this time I am going to print a numeric value, say 5. Press enter key, and you can see the first line is the output from the previous statement, and then the output of the next statement, that is 5, is printed on the screen. So in order to remove these previous outputs, you can write CLS, press enter key, and the screen will be cleared. Now let's try to print the product of two numbers. So it is 5.6 asterisk symbol and say 3. Press enter key, and you can see the output is there on the output screen. Let's clear the screen again, and now print the result of subtraction of a value, suppose 4 minus 9. Press enter key, and you can see we have the result minus 5. So in this case we wrote the command print to display the output on the output screen and CLS to clear the screen. But what was printed on the screen was different in all the statements. As you can see, in the first case it was something enclosed in double quotation marks. So this was a string value or a string constant. Then we had 5. So 5 is a numeric value or numeric constant. Then we had 5.6, which is again a numeric constant. Then we subtracted 9 from 4 to get minus 5. So minus 5 is also a numeric constant or a numeric value. So constant is any value that we use in a program. There are two types of constants. One is numeric constants, which is a set of numeric values which may be represented as a positive value, negative value, fractional value, and we can perform a lot of mathematical operations on them. And the second constant type is string constant. It is a combination of letters enclosed in double quotation marks. So not only the alphabets, it can be a combination of alphabets, some special symbols and numbers also, but they all have to be enclosed in double quotation marks. Let's see another example of a string constant. We'll first clear the screen and print in double quotation marks C55, comma, sector -17, comma, Noida. Press enter, and you can see the string value is printed on the output screen. Now let's see how do we write a program and save it. For this we will go to the program window. You can use F6 function key to switch to the program window or from program window to the immediate window. In order to resize the windows, you can drag the lines or you can double click the title to make it full screen. Now let's write a simple program and save it. In order to save the program, click on File and then Save As. Let's name it as prg1.bas. BAS is for basic. Press OK and the name of the program appears in place of untitled. In order to execute the program, you can simply press the F5 function key or you can click on Run and then click on continue. Here you can see the previous result, that is C55 Sector 17 Noida, which was the output generated as a string value from the immediate window. And now we can see the output of this program as the result is, and then colon symbol, and then 45. Press any key to continue. In order to clear the previous outputs, it is always recommended that you add a CLS command in the beginning of every new program. CLS stands for clear screen. Now let's save the program. So click on File and then Save. And let us execute it again by pressing F5 function key. Now you can see the result of the program, which is 45. Now let's see what was there in the program. Here we had CLS, which is a predefined command. Then we have the value 9 referred to with the name L, and another value 5 referred with name B. Then in the next line we are writing here the result equals to L asterisk symbol and then B. So here the numeric values 9 and 5 are stored somewhere in computer's memory, and that memory location is being referred to with the names L and B. Here L and B, that is the values 9 and 5, will be multiplied to get the result, that is 45, and that result will be stored in some memory location referred with name result. In the next line you can see message followed by dollar symbol. In this case we have a string value, that is a string constant written in double quotation marks, and this will again be stored somewhere in computer's memory, but this time the name used to refer to that memory location will have additional dollar symbol. This signifies that this name refers to some string constant. Finally, in the last statement we have the print command, which is used to display the output on the output screen. After that we have the first name, that is message, and then a semicolon and then result. Result is the name of the memory location where the result of multiplication is stored. The semicolon is a separator or delimiter which separates multiple parts of the print statement. So in this case the value referred by message, then the value referred by result will be printed on the output screen. So when you execute the program, you see that the string value along with the numeric value is displayed on the screen in the same sequence as we provided it in the print command. If you noticed, we multiplied the values by providing a symbol, that is asterisk. If we had to add the value, we could have provided plus. In order to subtract, we provide minus. And similarly for other operations we provide other symbols. So these symbols are called as operators. We will be discussing more about operators in the next videos. For now, let's close the window. So click on File and click on Exit. Thank you for watching.